Welcome to my channel. Facts about Google. Google was founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin while they were PhD students at Stanford University. The company was officially incorporated on September 4, 1998. The name Google is a play on the word Google, which is a mathematical term representing the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. This reflects the founder's mission to organize a vast number of information on the web. Google celebrated its billion users in 2010. The user who pushed them over this milestone came from India. Google's first tweet on Twitter was in binary code, which translates to "I am feeling lucky" in binary code. The first Google Doodle was created in 1998 when Larry and Sergey attended the Burning Man festival. It was a simple stick figure logo behind the second O in Google. In the early days, Google's first storage infrastructure was made from consumer hardware drives contained in Lego brick cases. In 2004, Google launched Gmail on April 1st. Many thought it was an April Fool's joke, but it turned out to be a real, and it became one of the most popular email services in the world. Google acquired YouTube, the world's largest video sharing platform, in 2006 for $1.65 billion. It was one of their most significant acquisitions. New Google employees are referred to as Nooglers. They often wear colorful propeller beanie hats during their first week as a fun tradition. Google is known for its unconventional office spaces. Some of their offices have unique features like nap pods, slides, and themed meeting rooms. Google's search algorithm is known as PageRank, named after Larry Page. It helps to determine the ranking of web pages in search results. Google has been a pioneer in developing self-driving cars. Their project known as Waymo has made significant advancements in autonomous vehicle technology. In 2015, Google restructured and became a subsidiary of Alphabet Incorporated, which is the parent company that oversees various other businesses and ventures. Google has made substantial investments in renewable energy. In 2017, they announced that all their data centers are powered by 100% renewable energy. The term Google has become so ingrained in our culture that it's used as a verb. People often say, "I will Google it" when referring to online searches. Google's parent company, Alphabet Incorporated, consistently ranks among the top companies in terms of revenue and market capitalization. Google Translate can translate over 100 languages, making it a valuable tool for bridging languages barriers around the world. Google has acquired a wide range of companies over the years, from mapping and robotics to artificial intelligence and smart home technology. When Larry Page and Sergey Brin were developing the PageRank algorithm for Google's search engine, they used Lego bricks to create a storage compartment for the 10 4GB hard drives they were using. This early makeshift storage system laid the foundation for the massive data centers Google operates today. Google's original mission statement was to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. This mission has been a guiding principle for the company's products and services. Google has used goats to mow the lawns at their headquarters in Mountain View, California. They employ a herder and around 200 goats to munch on the grass and control vegetation in an eco-friendly manner. Google's headquarters in Mountain View, California is known as the Googleplex. It's a sprawling campus with colorful buildings, recreational facilities, and various quirky amenities like sand volleyball courts. Google is known for its elaborate April Fool's Day pranks. In one instance, they introduced Google Nose claiming to have the ability to search for smells. Another time, they created Google Maps, Pokemon challenges, inviting users to find and catch Pokemon characters on their maps. When you are offline and visit the Google Chrome browsers, no internet, page can be play and simple but addictive game featuring a running T-Rex. Press the spacebar to start the game. In 2019, Google claimed to have achieved quantum supremacy with its quantum computer, Sycamore. This means it's performed a task that would take classical supercomputers an impractical amount of time to complete. Google X, now known as X, is Google's moonshot factory, where they work on ambitious and innovative projects. Some of their projects have included self-driving cars, Project Loon, and smart contact lenses for monitoring glucose levels. Google's data centers are known for their energy efficiency. They use advanced cooling techniques and have made significant investments in renewable energy sources to power their operations. The I am feeling lucky button on Google's homepage allows users to skip the search results page and go directly to the first search result. However, it estimated to cost Google millions of dollars in lost advertising revenue because of users don't see ads on the result page when they use this feature. Google's influence on language is so profound that to Google is now recognized as a verb in dictionaries, meaning to search for information on the internet. Google's Street View has captured images of locations on all 7 continents, including remote areas of Antarctica and historic sites like the pyramids of Giza. In 2015, Google invested $1 billion in Elon Musk's SpaceX. This investment was part of Google's interest in expanding internet access to underserved areas through satellite technology. Google automatically deletes users' data from its servers after a certain period. For example, data from Google searches and YouTube activity is typically said to be automatically deleted after 18 months. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.